How's it going, guys? I'm Mike the Gaming Dad and welcome back to the channel. A few months ago I did a video on my channel called 20 new player tips I wish I knew when I first started playing Skyrim, as I wanted to share some of the things I'd learned over the years playing this game, and I welcomed you all to share your tips in the comments. And I really enjoyed reading those, so thank you to everyone who shared theirs. I'm almost at the end of the first chapter in my survival mode Let's Play series, where we are tackling the main campaign. So I wanted to do a part 2 video where I give 20 new player tips I wish I knew when I first started playing survival mode. Some of this will be beginner focused, so I expect most players to at least know some of this, but hopefully you learn something new and it inspires some of you to start your own survival mode campaign. So what is survival mode? Well, survival mode introduces several challenging changes to gameplay and new gameplay features that turn Skyrim into a harsh, cold wilderness. I won't go over all of these, but the most telling of these are your vitals. Your character will feel the cold, suffer from fatigue, and get hungry just as you would. You can see the effects of these here. The cold drains your health, makes you move slower, and some skills are harder to do. Tiredness reduces your magicka, makes magicka and stamina regen slower, and potions aren't as effective. And hunger reduces your stamina, makes you weaker with weapons, and less effective using shields and sneaking. So it's quite debilitating. You simply cannot ignore these. You'll see the effects of your overall stats on the skills tree as well. I mean, look at them, all currently below 100. This makes sleeping, eating and keeping warm a necessity. So what is the best way of keeping warm? Well, you know that fur armour that you mostly ignore in the base game because it's weaker? Look at this. This is a base leather set that I'm currently wearing. It has a warmth rating of 71 and an armour rating of 58. Let's just equip this fur set for now, the long sleeve version. And see, the armour rating has dropped from 58 to 50, but the warmth rating has nearly doubled to 131. So, best armour doesn't always necessarily mean the most suitable. Fur is your friend and you're going to want to keep a set on you at all times if you plan on going anywhere cold. It's worth noting as well that some races have starting benefits and weaknesses to your warmth rating. I cover this at the beginning of episode 1 of my Let's Play if you are interested. I'll also mention that if you do want to get a full set of furs, the fur helmet often won't show up on bandits and stuff, but you can get this very early on in the game. The location you want is this one, White River Watch, just east of Whiterun. Once you've dealt with the handful of bandits near the entrance, if you head inside and up this ladder, and then just around here to the left, you'll find the helmet on a table. Another good way of keeping warm is by carrying torches. It's always good to make sure you have a couple of these, and I also recommend giving one to your follower. If you carry one and they carry one, and you stand next to each other, it'll help slow the effects of the cold as you wander the wilderness. Torches don't last long when you equip them, it's about 4 minutes I think, but the good thing is if you unequip them and re-equip them, before that 4 minutes is up, it starts to count down afresh. I also like the idea of carrying torches now. It felt like before they were merely cosmetic, whereas now they have an actual purpose in Skyrim. So what about hunger? Well, obviously you need food to satisfy this, and my advice would be, don't be afraid to scavenge. I go into full hunter-gatherer mode when playing survival Skyrim. The farms around Whiterun make a great spot for collecting a few vegetables. There's a multitude of food to eat and recipes to cook in Skyrim, but the cornerstone should always be vegetable soup. It's so easy to make, yet it's hands down one of, if not the best food source in Skyrim. It's filling, and most importantly, it passively restores your health over 12 minutes. And this is massive because one of the changes in survival mode is that your health doesn't regenerate. You actually have to raise it either with magic, a potion or food. Another excellent way of getting food is by fishing. Now, I was skeptical of fishing at first when it was added into the game, but now I absolutely love it. It adds such a nice new level of immersion into a fantastic world. So always carry a rod with you and look out for spots in the game where you can cast out. Some fishing spots may also have some pre-caught fish on them already, which you can help yourself to, like these salmon outside Riverwood. If you do want to gather your own food rather than buy it, then you are going to also want to go hunting. I recommend using the calm spell if you do. It makes hunting a lot easier, unless you want the challenge of course. I'll just demonstrate this now. Cast it on any prey you are pursuing and it does what it says on the tin, calms them down so they no longer flee from you. And now you can make an easy kill and grab your pelts and meat. Again, I like that hunting now feels like it has a tangible purpose. Beforehand it was something I can't say I actively pursued, maybe just to grab a pelt every now and again, but now it feels like it's rooted in the mechanics of the game. One last point on hunting. If you want to get your hands on a lot of pelts early on, head over to Green Spring Hollow, which is west of Whiterun. You'll need to kill a saber cat or bear here, but at this location will be a hunter that has unfortunately been killed. There's a load of pelts and meat here, plus some ingredients, gold, and a chest worth picking as well. Survival mode also cuts your base carry weight in half from 300 to 150. Now I highly recommend you make yourself a backpack as early as possible, or buy one, it's up to you. They're easy to make, only taking 1 corundum ingot and between 3 and 5 leathers. 3 leathers do the standard backpacks, 4 standard with a bedroll, and then 4 does the backpacks with skill benefits, and 5 does these with a bedroll. There are 4 that increase skills. The hunter variant raises bow damage by 10%, the mage variant increases your magicka by 20 points, the thief variant makes lockpicking 15% easier, and the adventurer backpack increases your stamina by 20 points. I'll make this last one. See here how my carry weight is 150, and this will jump to 225 when wearing this, a necessity I feel for survival mode adventures. When you first get to Riverwood, you can talk to Gerda for a few free items. One of the items I recommend picking up is the Honningbrew Mead. Not to drink it now, well not all of it at least. Keep one of these on you at all times. If for whatever reason she doesn't have it, you can get some more of this down at Honningbrew Meadery near Whiterun. In this barrel here you'll find a stack of these. Now the reason why you want to keep hold of one of these is if you ever encounter the revellers on the road. These are the 3 drunk Nords who will approach you on sight and offer you a bottle of mead.
Ah, but you look tired. Come, share a bottle of Honningbrew Mead with me.
If you already have one on you, you get another dialogue option here. Why only have 1 bottle when you can have 2?
Eastmere's beard, you're one after my own heart. I would love another bottle. This good deed should not go unrewarded. Here, take this.
Select this and you get given a charmed necklace, and the revellers then depart. The charmed necklace increases your carrying capacity by 25 points. You can either carry this and wear it if needed, or disenchant it and learn the enchantment for yourself. Another effect of survival mode is it makes diseases more of a problem. Beforehand they just weren't an issue at all. Now there are more diseases and some come in 3 stages, ranging from the first stage, which progresses to severe, and then finally to crippling. And you aren't going to want this to happen, trust me. So keep an eye on your active effects from time to time. And this means that you are likely going to want to carry a few of these on your possession as well, just in case you contract something. And this is because you can't simply pray at a shrine to clear them all anymore. It costs 100 gold at a time to do so in survival mode. What you may want to do eventually though, as your character levels and gets stronger, is head up to Solitude and go to Radiant Raiment. This isn't the only location by the way, it's just a strong one as the selection is usually pretty good here. Now what they may sell is a necklace of disease immunity, and it's this one you want, the 100% version, not disease resistance which only gives 50%. Now I recommend this for any player who has survival mode switched on, who is either going to be facing the Dawnguard questline or is planning on going to any location with vampires. Contracting sanguine vampiris in vampire lairs just seems to happen so easily, but wear this through these dungeons and you're golden. Doing favours has always been beneficial in Skyrim. Some give you neat items, or heck, maybe you just do them because you like being nice. It's worthwhile doing in survival mode for a few reasons. For example, helping Sven or Faendal with their love triangle at the start will give you access to their home, and they will allow you to take basic low value items if you want. So these weapons you can all take, and all this food here are yours if you want it. You also get access to their bed, so it's a great way of getting a place to sleep for free. Speaking of beds, there are loads of ways of getting a place to lay your head down around Skyrim. There's an abandoned house just outside of Whiterun here. And inside there's a partially hidden chest which doesn't contain much, but you could deposit some stuff here for later if you needed. There's also a bed here as well which you can use. You'd be surprised how many little spots have a bedroll tucked away, so don't panic if you find yourself in the middle of nowhere without a camp. You might be closer to a bed than you think. When you get to one of the major cities, I recommend chopping some wood. It's good for a few reasons. Firstly, if you sell it to the local inn, you'll get a small amount of gold, and this counts as a favour, similar to helping Faendal before. And now you can take items of low value, like this sweet roll. But it's actually quite amusing, because now you could literally empty the entire inn kitchen of all the foodstuffs. Wood is also good as you need it to make camping supplies, and these are an essential item in Skyrim for exploring the wilds. When you get to towns and cities, I also recommend making a point of checking all the vendors for two items, fire salts and salt. And luckily for me, Arcadia here has two of both of these. Salt is an essential item in Skyrim. Like 90% of the food you make in Skyrim needs it, so if you have lots of meat to cook off, you'll need salt. Now fire salts are useful as with these you can make hot variants of certain foods, like a hot vegetable soup for example. The main difference with the hot version is it increases your warmth by 25 points for 5 minutes and restores 200 points of cold. Now this can be a lifesaver in Winterhold, trust me. The Throat of the World presents a problem in survival mode. You have to come up here like 3 times at least in the main storyline, and each time you either get a cutscene or in a long conversation with Parthenax. You'll then end up looking like this, freezing cold and close to death. Oh great. Well, build a campsite up here. It may not seem like it would work in real life, but it does. Take a seat next to your fire and watch my health here. Back up to normal in no time. Now I'm going to have a bite to eat and a quick nap. And now my vitals are in tip-top shape. We're ready for another long monologue from Parthenax.
Greetings.
This is more of an overall tip rather than just survival mode specific, but use your favourites list for everything. I'm guilty all the time of only using this for say a weapon and some spells that I cycle through, but you can put everything in here. Right now I've got an ability, my camping supplies, my fishing rod, a healing spell, a bow, my potions of cure disease and minor healing, my axe, and my vegetable soup. It's like I'll never need to open up my items ever again. I also recommend at some point claim Goldenhills and set it up with a steward, farmhands and all available buildings. Gold is very useful in survival mode as it's far more resource intensive. This place basically becomes a gold mine. Every time you pass here you can collect your profits.
Good to see a familiar face so far from home. Very good, sir.
And it's also great for gathering resources. It'll give you eggs, honey, milk, plus any ingredients you have planted in the fields. I feel like restoration magic is underrated. It's always been strong in my eyes. Paladin type characters are really strong builds. But in survival mode, because of the lack of health regen, it becomes even stronger. It's basically like a healing potion that doesn't weigh anything. I also recommend some of the restoration perks as well. These are amongst some of the best in the game. Avoid Death is excellent, although it's a very endgame one. I recommend Recovery for anyone using Magicka. Regeneration is essential for anyone using Restoration Magic, and Respite is strong for any character. You may also want to adopt a child when in survival mode. It can be quite a wholesome experience anyway, but it gives you a nice perk as well. You don't need to do this via the orphanage in Riften, this is just where I did it.
That's all I need from you. Congratulations. I think you'll make an excellent parent. Go meet the children and decide who you'd like to adopt. Once you've made a decision, I'll collect their things and be sure they make it over to your house.
And once a child is at home with you, you actually get a new sleeping bonus. See here, I now have Father's Love as well as Lover's Comfort from having a spouse. And what Father's or Mother's Love does is it increases the potency of healing spells and potions by 25% for 8 hours, and this is a really useful perk to be able to pick up. I haven't actually done this yet on my Let's Play, but it's worthwhile getting a horse. You can do this either by taming a wild horse, you can pick up a mat from a stable, or you can buy a horse directly from them as shown here.
You've got a deal. It's the one with the saddle.
Horses not only help you get around Skyrim, I haven't actually mentioned yet, fast travel is disabled, although you probably already knew that. But they also provide you with valuable carry weight. If you can't run due to carrying too much, you can walk at normal speed when on a horse. And probably the best horse in the game though is Arvak, who you can get in the Soul Cairn. Having Arvak means you have a steed at your fingertips if you ever need one, without running the risk of leaving a real horse somewhere, or it running off to attack some bandits and getting itself killed, as my horses seem to love getting involved in fights. And my last tip is, talk to everyone and get all quests, especially when in major cities. Because you can't fast travel, once you leave, say, Falkreath, it's likely going to be a while before you are back again. If you have loads of quests available, as shown here, it's likely that you can tick off lots of stages in one particular area at a time. And this is going to save you a lot of time in the long run, rather than going backwards and forwards all the time. As you can see on my map here, in some of the major holds, there are lots of quest markers available all in one place. So Whiterun has 3, Winterhold has 4, and Riften has maybe 5 or 6 here. So it makes a lot of sense to box everything off in one area before you move on. And that's my list of 20 tips I wish I knew when I first started survival mode. I hope this has helped you, or maybe inspired you to give it a go for the first time. I'm Mike the Gaming Dad, and I'll see you next time.